Hi there. I just thought I'd make a very quick video on how I set up stop losses in Stake. So when you get into Stake, this is the web-based version, and the phone or iPad version is very similar. But what I'd always recommend is every time you buy a stock, you'll end up with something that looks like this. It basically tells you what your holdings are. It tells you how many of that, tells you what the share is, how many of that particular share you've bought. It tells you your stake in that share, which basically means how much, what's your value in that particular stock. It tells you what its performance is. So it tells you if you've made money or if you haven't made money. So it's basically telling you here for this particular stock, I'm up $8, which is roughly 8.16%, or I'm up $4.03, which is 4.03%. Because what I do is I always buy $100 worth of stocks just purely for the fun of it. So I just go and I buy $100 worth of a particular share. And then that way, if I look at this number here, I can very easily tell if I'm up or down, to some extent. This one here is $93.20 because I bought, I don't know, I think I bought, $88 worth because that's what my balance was at the time. Then the average price here tells you what the average price was that you bought that particular share for at the time. The last price here tells you what it's currently trading at. So you can see that, I bought this share at roughly $60 and it's now worth $65. And it tells you here that 0.56 means if it's up or down for the day. And then here it tells you the day result, which means, how many dollars or cents it's up or down for the day. And then you've got a plus tab to buy more and you've got a minus tab to sell them. So it's just a very simple way for you to see, what you've bought, what the current value is. And the thing that I look at that's most important to me is I look at the overall performance. I look at the performance since when I bought it. And so for any shares that are down roughly, 5% or more, I'd sell them. So 2% down doesn't really worry me. 0.32 doesn't worry me. 0.24 doesn't worry me. I've only had these shares for a very short amount of time, and so I'm not too fussed that they're down at the moment. It's nice to see this one here's up 35%, for example. This one's up 4.5%. This one's up 8%. So, it's nice to see that these shares are doing well. But instead of me having to watch the market every night and worrying about, is the shares going up or down, and if one drops by, let's say, 10 to 15%, which can sometimes happen, I want to make sure that I get out of the market. I want to make sure that my share sells if it goes more than about 5% below my buy price. And so I can do this very simply by putting a sell order in. And if I scroll down a bit, you can see these are all my pending orders. So these are all orders that I've got for all those stocks above. There were 8 stocks. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you can see that I've actually got 8 pending orders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so if I go up here and I look at Booz Allen, so Booz Allen, I can see that I bought on average for $60.26 and it's now 65. But just remember that Booz Allen, $60.26. If I scroll down, I should see that here. And so I can scroll down, I can see Booz Allen, and $60.26 is what I bought it for. And you can see that I've got a sell. If the price reaches $59.85, I sell that stock. So if it goes down below, roughly 5% below my buy price, then I get out of that particular stock. I don't have to watch it. I can go away on holidays, and I can sleep comfortably at night because I know that my money's not going to get eaten up by shares that are going backwards. If it goes down 5%, I'm going to get out roughly around about if it goes down 5% below my buy price, I'm going to get out roughly 5% below my buy price. It's a little bit tricky how to set that though. So if we went up here and using Booz Allen as that example, and I click on this little minus, and there's lots of different ways to sell them. You can see here that it's saying that the bid, which is what people are preparing to pay for it at the moment, is $65.20. It must have closed at $65.18. I'm guessing that was the last price that it traded at. But at the moment, with the market, there's people prepared to pay $65.20 because I'm after hours at this stage. And what you can do here is you can see there's a thing called Market Sell, and there's another little tab called Advanced. And when you're looking at the iPad or the iPhone version, there is a Market Sell and there is an Advanced, and it's sort of up the top left of your little sell box. So just have a look for advanced orders when you're looking to set this up. Now, if you were to basically have a market sell, and the price here is that, that's the number of shares that you hold. It's, you own 1.6594 shares. If you were going to click on that and then click on review, it basically means that it puts your order into the market straight away. And you don't want to do that unless you want to sell the shares, literally right now. If you looked at a share and it was down 5%, and the market was open, you can click on this and it will basically put it straight into the market at your estimated price, which is it'll just basically sell it at whatever the current price is. This $65.82. It's what's called a market order, so it just gets rid of the stock. What I would always do is I'd always go to advanced, and you've got two options here. You can either put a limit order or you can put in what's called a stop order, and the stop order is the one that I always want to use. If I scroll down, see how it's all orders as sells, and see how here it's what's called a stop order. And the advantage of a stop order is it says only put my shares on the market to sell them if the price reaches a certain value. So if the price reaches $159.99, then put this into the market and sell it and get rid of it. If you put in what's called a limit order, then you can put in your own price. But the problem with the limit orders is they seem to expire each day. So rather than having a limit order, which will just sit there forever, stake seems to make it, or it looks like from this. I've never tried one, but it looks like it'll close, at the end of each day, and you'd have to go in every day and re-add it. And so a limit basically says I only want to sell this stock if it goes down to $59.85, and then I want to sell as many as I can of my stock at $59.85. As long as there are buyers willing to pay $59.85, you'll sell it. But the catch is if the market drops to, let's say, 58, something goes terribly wrong, and all of a sudden the share plummets to $58, and there's only buyers around at that $58 mark, then you're a seller who's all the way back up at $59.85. So it means that your shares won't sell. You'll sit there and if the share price goes worse, let's say it goes down to $45, you're still stuck with all these shares. And so it's quite interesting from this perspective that it's good to get out, but at the end of the day, you might end up with a whole heap of them. And so what I do is I put in a stop, and this is what's called a market order. And so when you put this stop in, there's little tricky things with stake where and other brokers where you might even have to wait till for some shares you might have to stay up till the share market opens, which is around 11:30 at night, or I think it closes around 6 in the morning. This is Sydney Eastern Standard Time, to set it exactly where you want to set it, because it talks about it. It's got to be within 5 cents below the market price. But with some of mine, I want to put them further down. So all again it tells you here is the number of shares is 1.659. That's how many shares I've got of this particular Booz Allen share. And I've put in this price here to say I want to only sell this when it gets down to $59.85. And so if I go down and see Booz Allen, see how I've got it $59.85, and the current price, remember, is around $65.18. So the way that this type of order works is that when it goes from $65.18 down to $59.85, automatically my sell price triggers, and it automatically goes out and says, get rid of all the shares that I've got, which is in this case only 1.65. Get rid of all the shares at this $59.85 price, or whatever anyone else is prepared to pay for it. So if the price, did drop through this $59.85 and it was 58, my shares would sell at 58. If it dropped down to 45, my shares would sell at 45. So there is the risk that it won't necessarily sell at the price that you've set it at, but because these are typically better shares, they're bigger stocks, we're in the US market, there's a lot more buyers, there's also a lot more retail investors who don't use stops. There's always a really good chance that I'll get pretty close to my $59.85. It's unlikely that I'd sell much less than $59. So every time that I've done this, I always get out within a few percentage points of this $59.85. So I might get out at 58, I might get out at 59, I might get out at 59.85. But the point is the share's gone wrong. Something's happened with the share. It's gone the wrong way, and I just want my money back, and I want as much of it as I can get back as quickly as I can get it back, and then I can put into a better stock. And if you set these values too close, like you can see, some of these shares have gone up and down 1% in a day. And so if you were to set it, let's say that 2 or 3 type percent mark, then you might lose your shares every day. But again, because it's stake and because I don't pay brokerage, I don't really care about that. It just means that if I sell the share too quickly, then I'll just go in and buy it again. On other more risky, more speculative type shares that go up and down a lot, I might set this at 10% below my buy price, or I might set it at 10% below the current market price. And so that's actually the right tip to give you. What you should do is every time your share goes up, maybe 5 to 10%, what you should come and do is cancel your current order. Stake doesn't allow you to edit it, but cancel the current order, and then go back and put a new order in that's roughly 5% higher. So 5% below the $65.18. If I use my calculator and I go 65.18 times 0.95 equals $61.92. And so instead of having my sell price at $59.85, I should have it probably around that $61 type mark, $61.82 or whatever it was that I said that I calculated, because that way I'm always going to be roughly 5% below whatever the top price is. So it means that I would have banked some profit, and then I can reinvest the stock. I can reinvest my money into another stock. So as I said, stake's just a bit of fun. It's super simple. It's easy. If you click on the shares, you get these nice little charts that again, super simple, super easy to use. This is this Booz Allen one that we've been talking about. You can see that's got a really nice chart, left to right. It's been making some good gains. Here it's getting a little bit iffy. It's gone down a little bit, along with the rest of the market. I can click on a 1 month view, which gives me a bit more of a close-up. So you can see, it's ticking away, ticking away, ticking away. It's come back a little bit, gone up a little bit, gone down, gone up. And so I'm hoping, that it'll continue to go up. It'll continue to, continue this run. But if it doesn't, I'll get out. I'll sell it around that $59 mark, which is, somewhere all the way down here. So, I've got a lot of room to get in and out of that particular share. As I said, Stake's just a very, very simple program. I'd encourage you to click around, click on everything, read as much as you can about the individual stocks. And, it's a very simple, very easy way for Australians to buy and sell US stocks. Because there's no brokerage, once you've got your money into the system, you can play with it, you can muck around, you can experiment, and you only really, it only costs you when you, take your money out of it. So, while the money's in there, it's all good, and it's only when you actually extract it out and change it back to Australian, dollars that you might have, a small, disadvantage on the foreign exchange, currency exchange. But it's a good system. So I really enjoy it, and I think that more and more people will use systems like this to buy and sell shares in the future. It's very simple, it's uncomplicated, and again, I just encourage everyone who's interested in shares, especially the kids. The primary reason I'm making this video is my niece, Adele. She's a 10-year-old, and she expressed an interest in buying and selling shares, and so her mother set her up with a stake account that her mother has under her name. But Adele can then have a conversation with her mother. She can look through the app and she can say to her mum, hey, I'd like to buy $50 worth of this one, or $50 worth of that one, or $10 of this, or $100 of that. Again, the big advantage of stake is that you can buy 0.7 of a share. That's what this is saying here. I've got 1.65 of this share. I've got 1.83 of this share. I don't have to have 100 of each share or 50 of each share. So if you're looking at stocks, I don't know what Facebook's worth now, but pretend it's an $800 share. It's probably not, but if there was a share that was worth $800, you can buy 0.2% of it. You can buy these tiny little amounts. So you can have fun with 100. I don't even know what the minimum for stake is, but I know Katrina, my sister's, opened a $500 account for Adele, and so you can have maybe $100, that you can then put into the market and have a play with and learn how it all works. And at the end of the day, all you're really after is making sure that your percentage goes up. If you're trying to make money. So stakes a great way to learn. It's a great way to start trading. Great way for your kids to get involved in trading. It's a really good introduction. As I said, it's very basic. It's minimal. Your charts don't have technical indicators, but it doesn't matter. I'd say to everyone, click on a company, have a look at the chart, see which way it's going, have a read about what the company actually does, and then work out, is this something that you think has got a good long-term success? You can see here again, this is just another super simple stock that's just making, continually going up. And so those are the sort of stocks that I like. They're super simple. They're, very easy. There's probably a bit more information. You've got data, open, high, low, prospectus, volume, view, filings. I've never bothered clicking on any of these. There's some very, very basic financial data there. Prospectus could be interesting. It won't probably appear. But there's certainly a lot more information that you can have a look at. But I'd just say to you, have fun, look at the companies. There's a screener that's very basic. If you go to, I think it's under the watch list, might be under the shop, in fact. But have a click around. It tells you, how many people are looking at this particular stock on stake, how many have liked it or shortcutted it, perhaps how many have bought it or got in their shopping cart. So it's just, as I said, it's a really nice, simple app, and so far I enjoyed. I think it's a bit of fun. But the main point of this video, rather than reviewing stake, is literally to go through and make sure that for every time you buy a stock, you have a matching stop loss or matching stop order. So that way you can protect your money just in case the stock goes the wrong way. So hopefully that's of interest, and one day I might make a longer a longer stake video. But this is, as I said, more for the benefit of my niece Adele and her mum, so that they can make sure that they protect their capital, if a stock goes the wrong way. Anyway, hope you enjoyed.